Dr. Ashwani Dhar. He's a physician leader from California and he's senior vice president of Cardiogenics and also the CEO of Avenida. So he has experience in digital health and background in bio-IT as well. And he's a physician as well. The topic we are discussing is treat the patient and not the condition. And as we heard from all the talks, there's a lot of discussion about people are trying to personalize the medicine, personalized medication.
So hi, good evening, Dr. Ashwani, Dhar. You can hear me okay, right? So I live in the Bay Area in California. I just traveled yesterday, 22 hours of flight and all. So if I sound jet lagged, that's true. So I am very jet lagged. So I'll keep it simple. I think you simplified it so well that what is pharmacogenomics or pharmacogenetics or whatever you want to call it. I'll keep it very simple. I think as my experience as a clinician and in healthcare IT, EMR, which is medical records, and then part of startups and so on and so forth, I'll keep it simple. It's like who, where, and when. I think who is that we as clinicians or healthcare providers need to understand the importance of it. And as you pointed out, that we are not taught about it in the med school as yet. And I think it should be part of the curriculum as medical informatics and other things. I think pharmacogenetics, as far as this portion of this should be emphasized. People are aware, and that's not the problem, but where is it? So who is the all healthcare providers need to be aware of the importance, and where is that in all venues of care? So we should not think of that somehow, I don't know, in the US when it started, say 10 years back, it was thought that it's only in oncology. No, it's in everyday medicine, as you pointed out. And some people have stories, so you should not have to go through a story to say that that's the moral of the story. And when is that? I think it's at the point of care, and it should be preemptively testing done. And I, as a clinician, should have, today I'm looking at hepatic profile, renal profile, and I think should have a genome profile. I think we should, as if we want to call ourselves leaders, emphasize to the people or the powers to be, and you are looking for the minister to understand that we should make this as simple or as important as doing a blood test. So my record should have, I'm O negative, or this is my hepatic or renal profile, and this is my genome. And this could be so dangerously effective or undo the danger if a patient presents in the ER and you are giving a medication thinking that you're helping them out, and in reality you might be doing much harm. So I would say that when I say who, where, and when, if you want to, in the when part of it, if you want to prevent doing harm, then that's important that we have this as a part of day-to-day medical care. And I don't think it should have this kind of a connotation that this is something which is done rarely for oncology and all. It should be part of you're doing labs, this should be for one of the labs, check mark, and in US there should be a CPT code for it because we are so driven by the payer system of it. So that it's not that as a clinician I am justified to do this test. And it should be preemptive that you check in. I'm talking about the US bill. So you take a patient intake, you should be part of that. And I think what your company is doing and creating a test which is easy to do, and I don't know how cost effective in terms of me going and justifying it to the payer to say, but I guess the ROI in itself is the cases you just predicted or talked about, that taking a simple Tylenol could create such a confusion because you are kind of creating, I think the idea of the business was good to create morphine out of it. So I don't know whether we should do it. So as I said, I just don't want to, so I've done enough of this that bring your own microphone, so I'll let somebody else speak as well. So I'll kind of repeat and land in the who, where, and when. If we just take care of this, and I think as healthcare providers, we need to convey it in a simple way. Don't get all those overlaps and all. Just say that if you want to prevent and not do harm to a patient, and do effective care, this is one of the requirements. That's about it. So today you want to do a CT scan and MRI, and they have become part of the regular diagnostics kind of checklist. I think this should be one of them. And if we as healthcare providers or leaders can make the powers to understand, and there are a lot of initiatives I'm told in India, and this would become part of it. If you could have a ATM with a Narya Paniwala, so this could become as adoption of such things is always a challenge. And if we justify and can make a case, I think we should do it.
That's great. So we got the physician perspective. One is about like there are a lot of use cases where it can be applied, and there are like different biomarkers, either blood biomarkers and genetic genomic information which can be used. And you were talking more about how it should be incorporated into the curriculum and education, so that from clinical practice perspective, it's applicable.
Yeah. So sorry to kind of interrupt here. So my thing is that a lot of academic and philosophical discussions are good, but it's like, let's do it. How do you operationalize this and make people understand the importance of it? Otherwise, it will remain in the academic realms of some people who have PhDs written after their needs, understand the importance and talk amongst them and agree on a point, but not having the operational effectiveness of day-to-day care. I think that is what I'm coming at. I think maybe this is a good chance to have pharmacogenomics as a part of a clinical decision support system, what's called a CDS. And right now we have those, we have algorithms built into the system, right from drug to drug allergies and simple drug to food.
So this is in the US or?
I'm kind of proposing that this could be a part of a CDS, where then you could already have that built into an algorithm, built into the system, that if you have deficiency of this gene, then this medication being, so when I select this, I get a pop-up to do that. So I think that would be the next kind of facilitating technology, helping you make better, well-informed decisions.
So I've heard that in the US, so currently like in the US, like there's like a lot of drugs getting FDA pharmacogenomic labels and all, and I heard that in some of the EMR systems in the US, like once a physician prescribes a drug, you get a notification that there's some guidelines on it, and the physician kind of makes the decision whether he can override the guideline, or like he can make his own judgment based on the patient history. Is that the case, or?
Yeah, so I've lived that life for almost more than a decade. So there are two parts to it. Yes, there's a notification. This is called clinical decision support system, and
what you're talking about.
So yeah, that's what I was talking about. And then things like alert fatigue and all started coming in. So how do you? Because sometimes in terms of medications, there could be the benefit to the risk ratio is more. So I'll give an example. You mentioned renal end-stage renal disease. So if you're saying the creatinine is already about 1 or 3 or whatever, and if the system is built that serum creatinine is this much and you're giving an nephrotoxin, should you still, so the clinical decision supports are either handcuffs that they don't let you do it, or they just present that, hey, this is, do you still want to proceed? So they allow you as a physician to make that final decision. So what I was proposing that we could have pharmacogenomics built into one as the component. So as far as pharmacogenomic kind of profile being part of the medical record, some health systems have already started doing that. So that is already happening. Because the capability is there, it's just putting it in. And some major health systems have started doing that. What you're saying that these should be standard practice of, yes. And I think in that, talk about making some of this as a standard practice. I think in antenatal we should have this part, like the story you just mentioned that some person breastfed their kid and the kid died because the mother had a deficient or there was a genetic predisposition. I think we should make a case that people who are all mothers to be should be tested for this, and you have a profile and you prevent just by doing one test. And as Dr. Kumar mentioned, that why don't we are spending this much money on a procedure? Why don't we front end that as standard practice that when you get admitted or this procedure is prescribed, this is a part of that. You're doing CBC this, and you're also doing a full a genome spectrum so that people can make decisions based or better or well informed decisions. So the other thing is that if we are now looking at doing this, I think all of us agree, health is practiced the same way but provided differently. So what's the appetite in countries like India where it's kind of a hybrid of some insurance coming in and then you are living in a world where everything is provided. So how do you justify and have those people who are making how healthcare is provided different in different countries? Like how does this get incorporated in a country like India? Should it be driven by the healthcare community because there is not a payer involved, but there is some? So how would you kind of, does it happen at the hospital system in your case? Whereas for me, I have to justify to the payer that you got to pay for this because then you will have to spend $100,000 taking care of that side effect. Now spend $1,000 and get that practice or that test done.
I think a few of the audience had a few questions. So.
Hi. My name is Giriraj Chandak and I'm an MD PhD. I work in a research institute here in Hyderabad. We do a lot of work on single gene disorders and complex disorders. So it's really a pleasure to have, two Indian experts who are sharing their knowledge of practice from USA. Anu always comes up with, bright ideas like this also. But I'll play probably the devil's advocate also. This is a wonderful idea, and I remember when, as Annie was saying that about MTHFR and others, we have been thinking about this for a long time or so. My question to both of you is that whatever experience you have, this is over decades, I'm sure that a similar situation would have existed at some point of time in US, right? And as Dr. Ashutosh mentioned, that it's not only the clinician, but the patient, the nurse, everybody has to be in the system, right? And medical curriculum or other things are not likely to change immediately. So I'm looking for a solution that this whole concept has come up. I'm not going to go into the details of other goods or bads of our country, but considering the current situation of population, the economic status and the awareness amongst the clinicians or the other people, how do you think this would fan out, and what sort of plan you would suggest? I'll request, sorry for the long question, but I thought it would be good to have your experience from that.
Yeah, so I think what all of us agree on one thing, I think it doesn't matter which country we're talking about. I think eyes don't see what the mind does not know. So we need to start it from the basics. So if I'm going to the med school, I need to be trained to know the importance of this. And that should be the first starting point. So as a physician, when I understand the importance of it, I will make the case for it that this should be part of my practice. So it has nothing to do, then what you're talking about is more of a resource, but I'm so last year I came to India after 12 years. I'm so impressed that you and me using technology is no big thing, but I went in Mumbai to an Ariel Pani guy and I pressed there that I'll pay. The guy said, "Sir, Paytm nahi hai." So if we could do that in a population of 1 million people, I think if we have people in the position of making decisions, incorporate it right from the medical school, that this is one of the subjects you have to understand, because this will help you to prevent doing harm. Leave aside doing good, prevent doing harm, then that will percolate slowly, and these things take time, but that is, I think, the starting point. And then you could do, as we say in US, you could chew the gum and walk as well. So you could start that stream from there and go and address from the clinical leadership to make that wherever. So if I'm running a hospital or a system, then I should, or I'm the leader of cardiology, I should make that change from top down, saying that this is the advantage of that. And then you come to the system of how healthcare is provided, whether you're lucky to be in a place where everything is state provided, or we have a hybrid system, or it's a pair system. I think these are 3 swim lanes we have to work on. One is teaching the person who is going to be the healthcare provider, making it part of their curriculum. And second is that if we are at a position to make that change or affect that change, we should be able to manage it down, that is, make it a standard practice, and manage it up, and like if the Honorable Minister was there, to make him understand what is the importance. And we have the experts to do that. So I don't think it's a kind of dissing the country or anything. I think it's that these are different ways of providing care, but we can do standard care everywhere. I think that is my simple way of I hope that helps.
Yeah, that helps.
Just
insurance part I just wanted to understand, because everything in US is...
So I'll tell you a simple thing. So today we have it's coming everywhere. So let's keep it very simple. A heart failure patient is in a hospital, and we can today use data to predict what is the readmission risk of this patient. So I can then go to the payer and the insurance person saying that if we do this, then today we will be spending $1,000, but if we don't do this, because they understand the dollar, we can say that this patient will come back and you will be spending $100,000. They'll say, yeah, do the 1,000. So the persuasion can be different, that's making the case, but we could keep it simple, teach the person who's going to be the healthcare provider, you're the leader, affected, downstream and upstream, make the powers to be understand that this will be good for the people. I think that is a very simple case to make. I know I'm kind of simplifying it, but I think we can do it if we are willing to do it.